Okay, so today I'm going to be making a necklace that looks similar to this. So what I usually do is I go online and get inspiration, and I don't copy the items I see, but I get it my own idea. Now I've made this a while back, and this is a glass cabochon. It's an oval glass cabochon, and I have bits of cello glitter and nail art and nail polish. And I have a tutorial on my jewelry tutorial playlist showing you how you can make this as well. I made a few different types, so go check out my jewelry tutorial playlist and go look for this. I'll try to put the link below if I remember for the video so that you can see the jewelry, so you can see the tutorial when I made these and many others with the same kit. And the link is below for this kit. I think it comes with 7 of these. I've already given some away. I kept one for myself. So I wanted to use this in something. Now this comes in a different kit, and because the necklace I wanted to make has a similarity, and these things are similar to what's on the necklace. So as you see the picture again. So I will line these up, and before I do my jewelry, before I create anything, I like to place things and look at them and think of, I don't have the same exact items to work with as you see in the picture, but I'm going to make it my own, so I'm going to use what I have without having to spend anything. Usually if you make a lot of jewelry and have a lot of crafts and you already have supplies, if not, you can always purchase these beads. I've gotten from various different kits, usually from Hobby Lobby Craft or Michaels, or online on Amazon at Panda Hall BB Crafts. So I'm going to show you how to do this. I will try to put links for all the things and for the video for this. So now what I'm going to do is you're going to need eye pins and some, see, that's what eye pins look like. The other end is open. Okay. You're also going to need some jewelry wire. Now you can get, I believe this is like a 14 gauge, but you can use an 18 or 20 gauge depending on how fine you want it. But I want mine to be stronger because this is heavy, so I got like a 14 gauge. As long as I can fit through the bead, and this does. Just in case I don't have enough eye pins. Alright, now I still have to cut this and then make another loop at the other end, but it already comes with a nice loop, and I like the gauge of this, so that's why I'm using it. And I have some. But in the event that I run out, then I'll just use my wire. Use what you have. So, as you can see on that necklace, it has some black beads on either side of the pendant. I don't have long ones, I have these, so I'm going to use these, and I don't have exactly the same material, so I take my eye pin and I put these 2 pieces and a clear bead that I have. Now I'd rather have a nice sparkling clear bead, but again I don't have it, and we're going to be doing this with things that I already have, but you can go ahead and purchase it if you'd like to have more shinier beads, but these do the job. And then what I'm going to do when I'm done is clean this with a Q-tip and some rubbing alcohol, and it'll give it a higher shine, because beads, when you get them in a kit, sometimes are a little dirty and you have to clean them. They don't always have a high shine, but you can find ones with higher shine, so that are affordable as well. But I'm working with what I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wire or a eye pin and make 2 loops on either end of this, attach it, then I'm going to use probably a 4mm jump ring. So you're going to want 4mm and 6mm jump rings. The 6mm looks like this. I removed them off of a project, that's why they're sort of open now. Then I'm going to attach this to it and then another one of these. So I'm going to start that. So as you see, oops, I'm just going to do a little bit and then I will do it off camera for time's sake. So now you could attach all this, but what you want is that free-flowing look instead of attaching all these beads like this and these to one. I want it to be more free-flowing, but that's your choice. So I'm going to cut the excess. So I'm going to cut the excess, but leaving enough so that I have enough to make a loop the same size as in the other end. If it's too long, I could always trim a little, so it's better to leave a little extra than not to have enough. And you want to save the excess pieces rather than throw them away, because you can use them for the other one. Granted, they won't have the loop already in there, but you have to make one anyway, so you might as well. And it's kind of crafting on a budget. Use what you have. So now that I've done cut the excess off, I'm going to make the loop with my round nose pliers. Everybody has their own way to make their loops. And you want to make sure that it's closed. Now it may not be as big on the other end. I could have left a little, but that's okay. We're not going to be picky. I'm not going to waste this. But I want to make sure that it closes up on the other end and that there's no opening. Because if there's an opening, then you're going to lose your jump ring and the necklace will fall apart. That's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to use this piece for the other one that's going to attach. If you don't have them, it's always good to get a kit like this. I got this off of Amazon and Panda Hall, and it has a variety of different jump rings in there. As you can see, I really use this one up. I need some 4mm jump rings because I have a lot of 6mm, but sometimes these are a little too thick for me and I have to go with the thinner ones, but it's up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and try to see if I can use these tiny ones, and hopefully they won't be too thick. If not, I'm going to have to go ahead and use my 6mm from a kit that I got. If I don't like where I placed it, I can always move it up a rung, but for now that's where I want it, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now you want to make sure that your jump ring is closed and secure, because you don't want it falling. And you should hear a little click. Okay, so I've gone ahead and attached that. Now I have to attach, now I'm going to attach, once I cut this and make the loop, I'm going to attach this to here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So now I went ahead and attached, make sure you can see this. Okay, so I went ahead and attached these beads to the cabochon frame, and all I did was, like I showed you, the single one, and I put an eye pin and made a loop on one end, attached it with a 4mm jump ring, and then I got another eye pin and put the 2 end caps with a clear bead, and again cut the excess and put a ring around it, and then put a loop in it and attached another 4mm jump ring, and then repeated the same process with this single one so that it's more flowy. If you did all these in one eye pin, it wouldn't have that flowy feel and look. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat that process on here, and then we're going to get to the step where we attach these. You can see I attached my little loop things. Now these can be used as earrings or anything, and they have 4 different loops, and this is a little design on this side, but on that side it's flat, and I may even put something over there, but I'm gonna leave it like this. And what I did was I attached it like this so that there's different loops showing, because I have to, if you look at this picture, I have to attach other loops, and that'll be good for that. So that's why I'm doing that. So I've got to go attach this one on the other side as well. So I'm going to be doing that, and I'm going to come back when that's done. Now I've gone ahead and attached both sides and these to them, being mindful of how I'm attaching these and making sure that they're right side up with the little design, because it's easy to forget that when you're in the middle of doing things. So now I have gone attached them up here, but I may attach them to a higher rung or a lower rung. Now our next step is to finish this, and I'm going to see how long that I want to go ahead and let it hang, but I've got more of these beads to string up over here with I got more of these beads to put head pins and jump rings and attach, and I may use 2 more of these, and then I have to do the rest of the loop, and I'm going to use smaller black beads for that. So I've been using these hexagon type shapes with little cuts to give it that shiny bit when it moves around. This is what I have. It was in a kit I got from Hobby Lobby. But I am going to use some of these smaller round beads in doing that, and maybe some silver ones or clear ones. But that's going to be another process that I'll show you in a minute once I finish doing this. So now I went ahead and attached both sides. As you can see what I did, this was separate, these was separate, and I attached them with 4mm jump rings, okay? So now I'm going to try it on and see how long that I want it to hang, because remember there's going to be other attachments. Plus I want to see where I've got to put these two also here, if I do that, because it's similar to the other one, but I don't know how long I want it to hang before I attach a 6mm jump ring and then another 6mm jump ring and a clasp. So I'm going to go try this on and see how far it comes down so that I can determine if I have to add more to this. Okay, so now what I've done was, after I did that, I tried on the choker, and I noticed that it was sitting too long. So I tried on the choker to see how it would sit. And then what I did was I made 2 more pieces, but instead of doing the black bead alone and then doing the 2 end pieces with the clear bead alone and then this alone and attaching it like I did over here to give it more free flow, I used one eye pin and added all of them to the one eye pin, cut the excess and made another loop at the other end, and instead of a 4mm jump ring, added a 6mm jump ring. And I did that on both sides. Reason being, to add a little more length, and you're not going to see these parts, they're going to be at the end, but it still looks the same. But the reason why I left it like this is to give it that free flow look and to sort of mimic what I seen in that other picture, okay? So remember, when you get inspiration and you see something you would like to make, it's not good to make a copy. It's much better to make your own version of it, which is what I did, using what you have at hand or what you can find. If you don't have it at hand, you can buy the things that you may need, but try to make it your own. Don't copy somebody's exact. Even if you love it, you'll love it even more when you do your own version, because that came from you. You can get the inspiration elsewhere, but the main thing should be from you, and that's what I do here. So I'm going to get you a better look. So what I'm going to do is only very little. So what I'm going to do is hand, so there's only a very little space for me when I tried it on to hook it, so it's senseless to add another bead. What I'm going to do is add a series of jump rings on either side and then a clasp. And the reason being is because it doesn't need much more room to do this part around my neck. I have a smaller neck. Now you may have a wider neck, but it doesn't matter, because if you add extra jump rings, then the person, if you're making this for somebody else or giving it as a gift, they can choose which jump ring to attach their clasp 2 if you give excess at the end, okay? Okay, so for the second part, I'm not going to use my eye pins because there's too many. So I counted out all the little beads I need. As you can see in this picture, there's little ones, and I counted out how many for this rung, how many for the second rung, and how many for the third rung that goes over there. I say rung, but string of beads, supposedly. So I counted out how many string of beads I will need from here to here, and from here to here, and then the second one here. There's 6 and 6 and 7 and 7. So I'm not going to use eye pins. I really don't have enough, but I do have a smaller gauge jewelry wire. I was going to use the 14 gauge, but it was actually too thick and does not match the size of my eye pin wire. As you can see, this is more suitable. So this is about, I want to say 18 gauge. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's still strong. Now you can buy these reels, see, at Home Depot or Lowe's for between anywhere from $11 and $13. These are great. I got the thicker one in this, and you can get them. They're Lincoln Electric. And it's great because I've had these for about 7 years now. I bought one of the 14 gauge and another gauge, and then a thinner one, and they've been around for 7 years, and I've practiced when I first started doing wire jewelry and doing other things with wire. So yeah, it's really good. You can get a spool of this and it lasts you for like ever. And you just have to clean it with a cloth and some rubbing alcohol so it doesn't leave like any black marks or anything. But this is really great, especially for connecting all these beads and if you're practicing. Now, if you're going to work with sterling silver only, and you want to get all fancy, well then this isn't for you. Then you're going to have to spend more money. But really, this works out wonderful. Okay, so I'm going to be stringing up these beads. I'm going to cut a piece like so. Put that over here, and I'm only going to do one. I'm not going to bore you with the whole thing, and then I'll come back when I'm attaching it. So I'm going to just thread one of these smaller beads in here, and then I'm going to make a loop at this end, and then I'm going to cut the excess and make a loop at the other end, because if you put too many, it's not going to give that same look that I want. So okay, so I went ahead and made a loop in this end, and now I'm going to go ahead, make sure that that loop is secure, and then I'm going to cut the excess and make a loop on this end, and I'm just going to keep repeating that process for all of these. When they're all done, then I can start attaching them with 4mm jump rings. So I want to go ahead and show you what I've done here. I've made 2 loops on either end with the wire, and I'm going to, like I said, repeat that process for all of these. Well, if you look at the picture, the way it's attached, I'm going to take a 6mm jump ring and attach it like that, and then I'm going to get another one and attach it right there. So there you have it. So now you can see, and I'm going to bring this a little closer, how I did that, and I attached it to the little loop. Now the second one, I have to make a little longer, and even though there's no loop, there's still loops in here that I can hook it to, because you want that to drape a little more. So that's what I'm going to do. But first I've got to do this on the same side. Now if you want this to hang a little longer, you can add an extra bead. I was just going by eye. They only had 5 of these. I might add an extra one so that it hangs nicely, but I'll see the way that hangs on me first once it's completed, and if I feel like it needs a little more drape, then I will add another little bead and section. So just keep that in mind. But like I said, it's very tedious hooking up these tiny little jump rings, and it's good to have a magnifying light like this that's what I have. It's a light and a magnifier because it makes it so much easier on you and it saves your eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and finish beading the other side, and then I'm going to start the next row of beads. Now I've gone ahead and done this. I switched the 2mm to the 4mm jump rings because it's just wasn't draping enough, and rather than adding more beads, I did that. Now this is supposed to be 5 beads according to the picture, but I added 6 instead. So here you can see, let me just move this up a little, how I made another strand go like that for the third one. So I could make it even more loopy, but I don't want it to drip too much because I could even do another one. But now I got to finish it on this side. Then I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do for those other ones on that side. But for now, that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to turn it around so it's facing you. It's hanging a little longer because there's 7 here, 6 here. I attach them with 4mm jump rings, and then at the ends I attach them with 6mm jump rings, and I attached this 6mm jump ring to this end to the other jump ring that is attached to this instead of going through one of the hoops in there. So it's actually right in with the other jump ring, and it's going to have a nice hang to it. So I'm going to complete the other side, and then we're going to see about going ahead and doing the other loops up here. And this is this. Now the other one had let me see, 2 of these, like another one up here. I didn't want this to hang that low. Certainly I can add some more beads and drop this down a little bit because I do have a ways to go before it would reach and fall down my cleavage. But this is a choker. So what I'm going to do is for the other ones, I'm going to make another loop from somewhere up here down. So on that one, they have hanging beads. So what I did was I took one of these rounded hexagons that I've hooked up over here, and I threaded some wire, made 2 loops, used a 6mm jump ring to hook it to that, used a 4mm jump ring to hook to a 6mm jump ring, and then I took a head pin, which is this with a little head. It's like a pin, and because it would probably go through, I threaded a very small seed bead, black seed bead, and then put one of these. These matches, I'm glad I had this. They're like hexagon, just like that, with the little hexagon shapes inside there, or whatever you want to call them. So they're very similar to that. See, they have that same look. Then cut that, made a loop, put the 6mm jump ring to the 4mm jump ring, and then I hooked it to the end of the eye hook, and it drips down. Now on that picture, you can see on the original necklace that I'm trying to make my own version of, they have more of them. And that's going to be a whole thing because this isn't as long. I could always make this longer, so I'm still in the works of that. But I just wanted to show you that before I go ahead and make the other loop. So it's taken some time, but I've done the third row of chain, and I'm going to try to show you that here. So, and I also hung these, and now that I've gotten all that, and you're going to see what it looks like on, it'll be a better idea. And I hung those pieces. Now it's supposed to get more of these and hang them off of here. I also added chain and a different kind of clasp with the circle, I forgot what you call them. You put that through, and you do it like this, because I needed it longer and I needed it stronger, because this does have some weight because of the glass cabochon, okay? And it all blends in and looks nice with it. And it's shiny, and I like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make more dripping things for up here, and then I'm going to hang a bead off of here. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to show you. I know I have a raggedy old tank top, the one I use every time I craft. I have a few of them. So this is what it looks like now. As you can see, it's not exactly the same, but it is similar to the one in this picture. Now, I don't know if I'm happy with these two things dangling, but, and I might make it shorter. Let's see. So if I make it a little bit shorter, it'll go up to here. I'm going to play around with that. So here it is. I shortened it a little bit so that you can see what it looks like, because this is supposed to be a choker. So it can go higher, but then you will not get this effect. So let me bring it in a little closer. And that's what it looks like on. Like I said, I made it a little shorter. I did a chain for the rest of the closing with the ring and hook kind of closing clasp, but you can put a regular clasp in. And so this is what it looks like. And it'll look nicer when I have a nicer shirt on and I'm all done up. And I will do an update of what that looks like on me. So just so you're getting that look. I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm dressed up, and I'll do an updated video like that. But I like how it turned out. It did take some time. It was time consuming because you have to thread the beads through the wire and everything. And if you have help doing that, that's good. If you have somebody that can do that while you do the other things. Now I shortened it because it's supposed to be a choker, but I can make it longer if I decide. I like how the beads shimmer and shine. You can get shiny or clear ones, or you can just add a little clear ones with the black. You can do it any way you want. This is just what I did. This is what I had. And I will be putting all the links below in the description box under this video for anything that I can have, especially for this jewelry tutorial, and where you can get this kit to make these. And I show you how I did this. So how I made this and everything else. So that's it. I hope you like this video, and I hope you like this jewelry tutorial and that you'll be making one, and keep looking out for my next one. So be sure that you click the notification bell and that you subscribe. This way you can see when I do an update on this and any future videos. So thanks for watching. See you in my videos.